Good afternoon, Zelda 1 Randomizer race fans. We have another here in the first of our bracket stage matches. In this stage there are typically groups of 3 different players who are playing 3 games apiece, earning points. The top 2 point getters will move on to the next round, and in today's match we have Xarnax42, spudozaurus, and Phoenix Ignition. I am Dr. Brian Lorgon111. Valletta is our tracker, and I am joined in the booth by Boom. How are you doing today?
I am doing very well. Just finished up with work, and I'm very excited for this match. I can't speak for Phoenix or Spud, but I am happy to see a runner here who does shield strats, so I'm really crossing my fingers hoping I get to see some of those today.
Indeed. And this is the second of these 3 runners running in this group. Xarnax won the first one, Spudozaurus took second place, and Phoenix Ignition took third. They are starting in the forest, relatively close to some Armos statues, and so perhaps we'll get an early item over here. It's the book!
Oh, excellent. And big secret 124, that's very nice.
Oh, wow. So as a reminder, for anyone who is not familiar with this flag set, the book is an atlas, and so that will provide a map of all of the dungeons, and this is going to be very easy for all of our runners to find, and so we'll all have it in the first couple of minutes. Or even the first 45 seconds, as the case may be.
Okay, it looks like Spud is heading down south, so hopefully we'll get our check of the coast item. Meanwhile, the other 2 runners are going up towards the top.
And it's really interesting to find the Armos item that quickly. Like, typically it's one of those things that you make sure in the first 10 minutes you visit all the robots in order to see, oh, it's a white sword on the coast. To make sure that you get your item, and here we got it in the first 45 seconds, and so now it's like the whole world is open to you. Where do you want to go?
Mm-hmm. And I think we're also going to see a lot quicker dungeons, because we now have every map, so we can definitely not have to play Find the Bomb Hole.
Indeed.
One of my least favorite games.
I was actually doing a practice run this afternoon, and in my Dungeon 9, I had to exit 3 different times to farm bombs, until I finally found the bomb hole.
You have my condolences.
If I were better at getting bomb forces on 10 consecutive kills, that would help.
That is the one thing I do confess I haven't done yet. And it looks like we have... There's my big shield purchase. Xarnax with the shield, Phoenix with the arrows.
And it looks like there was cheap meat in that shop as well, so reasonable prices, and the runners have money, so... Looks like Xarnax is also going to pick up the arrows.
Highly approved. And we had a wood sword pickup from Spudozaurus, although I did not see... Oh, Lost Hills Armos, thank you. Valletta, our tracker, absolutely fantastic, thank you.
Hooray. So it looks like all of the runners kind of headed up into this northeast section where there are a lot of open caves that are available without having any other weapon available in the early game, but Xarnax is also going to pick up the wood sword.
It looks like Spud's going for... Oh, nice head clip. That is one thing I haven't tried yet. And I always love watching someone do it. And we have the ladder.
Ooh, and it's the white sword item. So at 4 to 6 hearts, they'll be able to pick that up and then go pick up the white sword. That'll be a great combat upgrade. And it seems like all the runners are going to discover that pretty early on. Phoenix Ignition makes a little show of not being able to pick up the ladder just yet.
So the question I'd like to then find out, hopefully soon, is when they come to the Take Any, are they going to sacrifice exploration of the candle, or are they going to pick up that heart, hoping that they can get the ladder sooner?
That's a great question.
Alright, Spud taking the candle, which, to be fair, exploration, you can get plenty of hearts in dungeons, but still that, knowing that it's just right there, and pretty close to your start screen.
Yeah, but at the same time, yeah, picking up the candle then also you're starting in the forest, and so there'll be lots of burn bushes, and so maybe that'll help you find another one of the take anys and kind of immediately offset picking up another heart. It's a tough decision to make. And it'll be interesting if any one of the runners somehow encounters a candle shop before finding the take any heart. Obviously, that would change things up. Spudozaurus is using some pause strats here to try to dodge the Lionel's and Zora's beams in order to get up to the top of the waterfall. With success.
Alright, so everybody picked the candle, which, like you said, not really surprising. Exploration, I completely get it.
So I guess the next question will be, what are all these various burn bushes here in the green section of the forest going to... Ooh! Bombs for only 5 and keys for 60. The prices are really nice in this seed.
That is wonderful. Spudozaurus already making use of it. Fantastic.
That is indeed the cheapest possible key price. I believe keys can be priced between 60 and 100.
Alright, I think 71 minus 53. I think that's 18 for our mugger room.
Sounds correct.
Okay, cool. I can still
Pretty
math.
reasonable.
And we
On
have
screen
level
no
9.
less. And because we have the map, we get a chance to see it. I wasn't able to count the rooms, but it looked like it was only in the low to mid-50s. Not a huge 9. Kind of a weird shape. And Spudozaurus has found level 3.
Well, that's just either a snake or it's the boomerang. Whichever your preference. Alright, and Phoenix finding that Armos spot to pick up his wooden sword as well, so everybody has a chance to go explore if they want, with some nice ammunition. Xarnax giving us some nice Death Mountain checks. Red ring
Oh
in 3.
my
How many
goodness!
rooms in? 2? Oh my goodness.
Wow. And where was that level 9 location that we saw?
That was east of, I think it's Monocle Rock?
Okay.
I call it Heart Rock when I track, but I think the correct terminology is Monocle.
Alright, well, Dodongos, as far as... I suppose these 3 Dodongos are not technically a boss, but as far as bosses go, are one of the enemies that are pretty easy to kill, since runners can have bombs and the wood sword. Spudozaurus is going to take down some of those guys in level 3. Tektites and Keese, also pretty nice.
Now, I did get a better look at that 9, and what I see is a lot of holes in the middle. So I am hoping, not for too many trolls, but, you know, a magic staircase would be nice.
Swiss cheese.
Yes.
Well, Spudozaurus has managed to pick up a couple of keys. Oh, there is the magical sword sighted by Phoenix Ignition. Making a note of its location, I imagine. And Phoenix Ignition heading over to Vanilla 1, which is another location that I don't think their brothers have explored yet.
Nope, I know Xarnax was in Death Mountain a little bit. Phoenix did the east of Forgotten Spot, but I do not believe went over. Xarnax finding another take any, so he is one step closer. Let's see if he goes back and tries for 4.
Yeah, it's close enough that it's worth a quick try.
Chat pointing out that Bai, our 4th player, has just not been having the best luck when it comes to these races.
Level 5 is also up here in the northeast, and Xarnax has discovered it. Perhaps we'll be able to pull a container heart out of here as well. Stalfos, not a bad enemy. Looks like this 5 is segmented.
Yep. We have found our bait block in 5, and thankfully not required. And we have level 4 sighting.
Nice.
That one's definitely a cactus. And whiz robes.
Power bracelet discovered by Xarnax in level 5. He's going to go ahead and pick that up out of the basement. Now, we are playing with flags where there is a guaranteed overworld block of either one of the 9 dungeons or the White Sword Cave. We've already seen the White Sword Cave unblocked, so we know one of the dungeons will be blocked, and so that power bracelet is 4 of the 7 blocked possibilities already covered. Got the dongos here in Dungeon 4 for Phoenix Ignition as well. Does have both bombs and sword. Has discovered the Triforce room already. It's still looking around to try to find a staircase for the item, which could be down here in the south. Xarnax, unfortunately, takes a death in level 5. And Spudozaurus is doing some first exploration of the south coast with the bombs. And discovers another Take Any.
So, quite possibly able to pick up that item. Let's see.
To answer a question in the chat, this is the second race among these 3 runners. In the first one, Xarnax took first for 4 points, Spudozaurus took second for 3 points, and Phoenix Ignition came away with 2 points. There will be 3 matches, and the top 2 point getters will move on to the next stage in the brackets.
Okay, Spudozaurus is found level 4. Phoenix unfortunately takes a death just to that last blue whiz robe.
That's a tough enemy to have to deal with this early on in the race.
Ooh, and we have level 1. At the I think Desert Potion Shop, maybe they call it, east of the first fairy fountain. So many different people call it different things in their trackers. But first, Spud is going to check to see if that ladder is able to be picked up. Phoenix, meanwhile, still taking a look for an item in 4. Xarnax still plugging through 5.
Got a Goma and a Circle Moat room there in 5. It's one thing that's going to turn Xarnax away, and now we're going to get our first check to see if it's possible to pick up that ladder at just 4 hearts.
No.
Sadly, no for Xarnax. And Phoenix Ignition discovers the item in 4. It's just the magic boomerang. Elects not to pick it up, but does already know the location of the Triforce, and so I have a feeling that Phoenix is going to be out of here. Although it might still look for a container heart, since we know how valuable that's going to be.
I was kind of hoping, but it looks like they're making a beeline straight for it. So let's see if 5 is the magic number. Oh! Max hearts required for the ladder.
Well, that at least makes things a little bit more challenging for our runners, who know that they're going to be rewarded with a white sword, which will be... that's usually a good enough combat item to kind of carry you through the rest of the seed. Wand is still somewhat of an upgrade in terms of its range and weird hitbox, and obviously the magical sword could be in play at some point, but white sword is pretty nice to possibly have available in, the first 20 minutes.
Spudozaurus, meanwhile, found one more Take Any, and is popping up to get their ladder, and then most likely straight down the coast to go see Betty. Xarnax, meanwhile, finds level 1, and we've got Phoenix in level 3. Now, I don't think Spudozaurus, I believe, already found 1, but did not do any exploration, so I do not believe we've seen what's on the floor or in the basement yet.
And it looks like level 1 is segmented as well. It's often the case that if 1 or 2 of these dungeons 1 through 6 is segmented, then some of their counterparts will be as well. Hey, there on the floor is the Any key.
Perfect.
Very useful early pickup. And it's interesting, Spudozaurus admittedly was up here and has just kind of discovered level 5, but choosing to try to dive it right now with just the wood sword, rather than have to walk down and walk back. And if the enemy set is kind enough, that's pretty reasonable. Xarnax takes down an Aquamentus without much trouble.
Alright, so Phoenix has his ring, Spud has the bracelet, just jewelry all around for everybody.
Xarnax, using a bomb on some of these Gyptos to kind of thin things out, discovers a Triforce in this room, but is still looking for a basement, and so continues on in Dungeon 1. Pole's Voice, we don't have the bow yet, so these will take a bit of time to kill. Spudozaurus manages to take out a blue Wizrobe and some keys, just to check if this room is going to drop anything at level 5 before continuing on.
Ah, very good clock pickup for Xarnax. It's going to make things so much faster.
And doing a good job rotating up and down and managing to hit a Pole's Voice both above him and below him with the same sword strike. It's the raft! So that is both items out of Dungeon 1 for Xarnax. He already knows where the Triforce is, but since he knows he needs more hearts, is going to look for the container heart and is immediately rewarded with that as well. Xarnax is going to be completely done with Dungeon 1 here, less than 16 minutes into the race.
Yeah, the only problem is he is still 1 heart short to getting to pick up that ladder, and I do not believe he knows that because I believe he just tried at 4. So
Indeed.
I'm curious if we're going to see him go back and check or if he's going to keep exploring. It's one of my favorite things about watching these racers is seeing, okay, who, immediately goes back for the check, who decides to forego it in favor of exploration.
Xarnax decides to try to push his advantage with the fact that he picked up a power bracelet recently. It looks like he's going to check at least a couple power bracelet spots that probably also burn some trees, at least in the near term.
And Phoenix with their second Triforce on the board. And it looks like we'll be routing down towards the coast cave spots.
We saw Spudozaurus check these already. There was nothing too noteworthy. But yeah, now all 3 runners on the Overworld and just starting to get some more coverage of all the Overworld spots we've seen. And once again, Xarnax is routing in his advantage. He recently picked up the raft, so we're going to go ahead and visit this island just in case it happens to be something great. A bomb shop is pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Spudozaurus goes for the coast and picks up the white sword. A nice 5 ruby bomb pack. And then possibly, I'm thinking just in the proximity, might be start doing some power bracelet checks, hopefully. And I
Phoenix Ignition, sadly, is going to get the bad news about 5 hearts not being enough. Does a little dance on the ladder. Gives a few wooden sword stabs in the face.
Oh, if only you could murder the shopkeeper to steal it.
This isn't Spelunky. And our tracker Bruletta saying that 3 of the Take Any roads are there on Candle Row, all right next to each other. Not very useful for our runners today.
Well, I mean, you have the ladder and white sword. What else do you want?
It has been, and yeah, 2 of our runners already have the red ring as well. It has been a pretty nice start, so it's hard to complain. Power bracelet block Xarnax has discovered level 2. I think on that power bracelet spot that's near the vanilla start.
I believe that was the boomerang on the floor that he passed through. Let's see if we can get another look at that. So I doubt if he passed it over once, he's probably going to pass it by again.
And yeah, in terms of other things that are going right for these runners, they've managed to find Dungeons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and Dungeon 9. So lots of good choices if they want to dive dungeons to try to pull some easy items out of small dungeons.
Here we go. Now Phoenix marches in and grabs his ladder.
Well deserved. And so each of our runners has a slightly different set of items. I like to see some divergence among the runners. Makes things interesting as it converges again towards the end of the race.
Alright. So, Phoenix now with the white sword. And there is the final floor heart that Xarnax needs in order to pick up that ladder. Gonna go mock the boomerang one more time for us. Oh, come on, just pick it up. Okay, fine.
Spudozaurus is also going to locate the raft in level 1. Xarnax manages to escape the blue animal room using a bomb in order to explore more of level 2 headed toward the Triforce.
Chat asking if we can use by their Triforces to mark what dungeons we have already been found, and I personally have no problem with that. If you would like to do that, you're in control, Boletta. You just tell us what you're marking and we'll go along with it.
And just as a reminder, I believe it was Dungeon 2 that we've already seen that was Power Bracelet blocked, and so in theory, it could be the case that the remaining dungeons don't have any of the blocks requiring the Power Bracelet or the Recorder.
Alright, Xarnax finally gets that ladder. Probably gonna head straight for the coast to go pick up his white sword. So now 5, I don't believe we found the Triforce, but I do believe there is a suspected bow block in there, correct? Because we've seen Gomas, and Xarnax was in
Yeah, there was
for
a
while.
Goma in a circle moat room for sure,
Okay.
that I remember in that dungeon. And so that's at least one possibility for where the Triforce might be, and the reason that Xarnax hasn't killed it yet. Xarnax does grab his white sword, and takes advantage of the fact that he has the raft to check out the coast coast island, sorry. And gambles successfully for 27 extra rupees.
Not bad. Well, I mean, realistically speaking, though, what left is there to buy except, no, not keys, just bombs, and those are 5 rupees apiece. So money really not an object in this seed.
That's true.
I don't think we've...
Don't need the keys. Already
Yeah,
got arrows.
We've only found, what, 1 or 2 of our big secrets so far?
Honestly, I guess a bomb upgrade is one of the
Okay.
few things that they could still want to spend money on. Those will typically cost, well, I guess the range is 75 to 125 in Rando.
Mhm.
But yeah, Dungeons 5 and 7 typically have the most old men, and so are the most likely locations where one might find a bomb upgrade.
Now, chat is making a very good point, is that with the items that we've seen now out of these dungeons, it looks like our later dungeons are going to be where the digs are going to happen. And I believe Tinier 9 doesn't always, but kind of means that 6, 7, and 8 are going to be a bit hefty.
Yeah, 9 does share some space on the map with 7 and 8, and so a tinier mine could mean larger 7 and 8. But yeah, sometimes a bit of the space goes unused, and so I guess we will see. Obviously, the runners having the book means we're going to get a good look at these maps when they finally find those dungeons. But yeah, the runners have a lot of items, but the most important ones, perhaps, the bow and silver arrows, are still outstanding. Obviously, you need those to kill Ganon, and so we're going to still see a lot of dungeon diving until those items are obtained.
Alright, so let's see. We've got a compass out of 5. I want to see if it is the true bow block. I can't remember if the Goma was in that room or not.
Yeah, I don't recall where it was on the map.
So, Spudozaurus also passed up the boomerang, getting the Triforce, and deciding to go on to bigger and better things. Although personally as a runner, I'd like to see the silver soon because I hate the idea that silver's in 9 and taking those gambles is going to be hanging over my head.
Yeah, it does pose interesting choices if it should come down to that. Also, the fact that the runners don't have the recorder yet. Like, if you have the recorder, it can always whistle back to the dungeon if you make the silver's gamble in 9, and then it turns out you need to, like, redive 6 or 8. At least it can be nice and quick when you have the recorder if you don't.
Yep.
That also makes things even more difficult. It looks like all of our runners are going to be shunning boomerangs for the day. Xarnax sees some scrap metal down in the dungeon basement and decides to just nope right out of there.
Well, to be fair, he does have the big shield, so there's
That's right.
another little piece of equipment that some runners do shun. Are you a big shield aficionado or not?
I am not. I have bought it once or twice, but unless kind of my cup runneth over with extra rupees, I am unlikely to do so. That said, if there is a seed with both Lionels and Wizrobes on the Overworld and you get the money early, that is one case where I might kind of switch strategy.
Alright, so Xarnax in level 3, and we haven't really seen much exploration of the west part of the world. I know we haven't seen anything in Deadwoods yet. Xarnax was over in Death Mountain, but I do not believe that he saw East Death Mountain, I think. Or did he do East and not do West?
I didn't even recall him being over there. It's hard to keep track of 3 runners. There's a lot going on. But yeah, it still feels like half the overworld and mostly the western half of the world is potentially unexplored. Phoenix Ignition is going to pick up his any key. One fewer thing to worry about. And yeah, the lack of the red ring for Xarnax has not been really a drawback. We haven't seen... Oh, well...
That's really not going to be a problem.
Commentator's blessing. We haven't seen that difficult to combat on his side, and he's well practiced at this. But now he's got the red ring, and so now all of our runners appear to have the same set of items. And even close to the same number of Triforces.
Now, do commentators, for the way that the commentator curse works, do you have to say it, or just thinking it also then makes it happen? Because I just had a thought and I really wish I didn't.
I see. Well, don't tell us what the thought is, and we can try to run this experiment. You'll have to tell us later, though.
Okay.
And yeah, there is no progressive equipment in this version of the randomizer, and so the white sword and the magical sword are always just themselves, the red ring and the blue ring similarly.
Although that would be a wicked flag to say that you could actually accidentally downgrade yourself. Oh, that would be terrible. Xarnax getting Triforce out of 3, and Spud deciding to use one of the take annies to pick up the red potion. So I'm assuming we'll pass up the letter also if they see it.
Yeah, with the red ring and white sword this early and already 8 hearts, a red potion is perfectly reasonable if you think you can handle yourself in the combat. Yeah, going after more container hearts with the magical sword is probably not necessary. Oh my goodness, Spud tries twice to buy bombs that cost only 5, but the shopkeeper says, no, 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 with only 0 money you are unable to pay. Get out of my store.
He says, well, nuts to you, I'm just gonna go outside and get them myself for free.
No, for free. I mean, you did have to stab a blue Octorok.
Okay. Caloric output, then. To swing your sword.
Not to mention, like, I don't know, like, what blue Octorok guts on your white sword would be like. I don't want to think about this anymore.
Alright, so we're finally starting to see some deadwood checks. Nothing too outstanding, just a couple more shops showing off that cheap bait price that we'll never have to get. Unless you do like bait strats. I have seen it happen before. Oh, we have level 7 south of the Blue Ring Vanilla. That is chunky. But I'm guessing that Spud is going to dig this.
Yeah, with both the blue and silver still outstanding.
Yeah, you have to dig a little.
And who knows, maybe he'll get lucky and not have to dig a lot. Tektite staying just out of range. Looking for some ranged combat through his inventory, discovers the blue candle, but then accidentally pushes the block in the way of the door. Now he's going to have to do a reverse clip if possible, or perhaps re-exit the room in order to get through that right door, we'll see.
Hopefully from the bottom. So, Phoenix picks up. It looks like in terms of Triforces too, our runners are all pretty equal. I have a feeling this is going to come down to 9, because it looks like everybody seems to kind of be routing the same way, picking up the same items, making the same choices. So I'm hoping for a wicked 9. I'm hoping everybody finds the silvers, and then it just comes down to how well can you route.
Spud is going to attempt to use a bomb to get out of this mugger room, but without money, is unwilling to pay the bomb tax to get through that mugger, and is going to choose a different way after upping through 7. Going to have to re-kill this Tektite room. It's going to cost a little bit of time.
But thankfully they're not chunky.
And the Tektites also are giving some money, like in the worst case, you could farm that Tektite room like 1 or 2 more times and then just go pay off the mugger.
Okay, and Xarnax has found level 8, and it is also a bit beefy. I think they both kind of look the same.
Yeah, and they're both about 5 columns wide, and so that means our level 9, I guess, must have had some things shaved off the side as well. I don't remember getting a good look at it. Blue and Mola are much nicer to fight when you have a convenient moat that you can stand on the ladder in. Spudozaurus taking advantage to get through this room.
Alright, Xarnax with the Triforce out of 8. Do you go back in and dig? Oh, 8 was at the forgotten spot. Oh my. No, decides to go and keep digging. Okay. We'll soon stumble across level 7, though.
That's right. And yeah, this Death Armos spot, that's usually something that runners will go to quickly, but since they found the Armos item right at the beginning of the game, there wasn't a reason to come through here. First time we've seen that check, but Xarnax is now going to discover level 7. And Xarnax has 193 rupees, and so it'll be interesting to see if he just chooses to pay off the mugger once he steps foot in that room.
Alright, so Phoenix finds level 2. Let's see. Maybe? Ah! He taunted me! I was all excited. I thought maybe somebody was going to pick up a boomerang.
Not today.
Oh, okay. Now, Spudosaurus back in this Tektite room. I didn't see if there was a block or... Oh.
Xarnax does immediately pay off the mugger. It costs 35, I believe. Spudosaurus is up to 30 rupees at this point. Xarnax tries to get double use out of some bombs, trying to stun a Dodongo at the same time, checking one of the walls here in 7.
Phoenix doing a good job face tanking those Landmolas.
Red ring is super helpful.
I think that's one of my favorite things about finding it early. It gives you that confidence to just go in there and start swinging And whatever you hit, well, they deserve to be in your way.
Spudozaurus being reasonably efficient taking out the pole's voice with the white sword. Does have a clock pickup.
Okay, good.
That makes things easy. You almost want to try to grab it if you can get to the pole's voice standing in the same place at the same time, but was not so lucky to have that happen. And Phoenix goes ahead, discovers Triforce 2, and picks it up.
But actually, it looks like Xarnax is right behind Spudozaurus in terms of rooms, maybe just one room above. So it looks like they're taking the same path almost. Do we have an item? Nope, just a transport.
Bubbles are really getting to Xarnax here. Having a hard time taking out just the Tektite, because he keeps losing his sword.
Alright, so let's see. So Xarnax is going left. Will, unfortunately, this might be the block. Okay, maybe this is why
Dear.
Spudozaurus did the
Yep.
up A. Okay.
We have a Goma, and we still lack the bow.
And we have a bomb
Shuttered
upgrade.
into the room. How much did it cost? I didn't notice.
81.
That's pretty cheap.
And Phoenix will join the party in level 7 as well. And 55 rupees, so enough to pay the door toll.
But Xarnax is the only one who'll be able to afford the bomb upgrade, and I think he'll be headed over there shortly since he's going to be kind of routed in a different direction. And so, get a chance to find out if it's going to be +2, +3, +4, +5, or +6.
Well, with the generosity of the seed, I'm predicting a higher number.
Fair. Phoenix Vision, taking advantage of the fortunate spawn of the Lambos to the north end of the moat, is able to kind of hit them, for the most part, from across the way. Then uses more aggressive stats to finish them off quickly.
So despite having the map, it still looks like we're getting a little bit of a game of find the bomb hole here, as both runners, at least Spudozaurus and Xarnax, are doing a lot of bombing to try to hopefully find a path around to a staircase. Maybe we can see some nice progression.
Phoenix Ignition now taking advantage of the ladder to deal with these blue Lanmos.
I don't think Spudozaurus remembered that room.
Oops. Well, Spudozaurus is going to finish off the dead end here. Just a little bit of disappointment here on the Death Armos screen. Actually, not so much disappointment for Spudozaurus. That just helps pay off the mugger if so desired. And now Xarnax, I think, is only a couple rooms away from this bomb upgrade.
But I don't know if he can get to it from the right side. So I know Spudozaurus had to take the transport staircase down.
Oh, I see.
So
I had not followed this. Yeah, what is turning out to be a very contrived map of Dungeon 7.
But we'll be able to pay it. It's not going to run into any problems then. Hopefully does not use any bombs, which might potentially force him out of the level before he can see this wonderful offer. Oh, so the Goma block chat saying that the Goma block in 7 that we saw is the only path, as Spudozaurus used all of their bombs to try to find a way around it.
Wow. Alright, so in that case, the bow is required to finish Dungeon 7. So we'll be returning here. And it's not a particularly convenient place to have to return to as far as their start screen and where the map has led the runners thus far. So that's going to cost everybody some time.
And 6 is still outstanding, which could possibly be the recorder block, which could possibly be buried in level 8. Oh, this is starting to warm up a little. What do we got? The max? All right, that is very generous.
The seed keeps on giving.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly in the runner's favor so far, but yes, as you're outlining the possibilities, tales of interest may be coming soon to this race.
Well, there's only one bait block in the entire seed, correct? Or can there be
Correct.
multiple ones? Okay,
in First Quest or Shapes, and obviously this is Shapes Dungeon Quest, there will only be one bait block. We've already seen it, so it's not coming into play.
But the magic staircase dream always alive. I always love that.
Phoenix chooses to up A out of the mugger rather than pay.
And Spudozaurus getting, wait, was that a 3 or a 2? Oh,
That might actually work in Phoenix Ignition's favor, because if they bounce out of 7 early, that's actually going to be a good decision, as it turns out, since we know that it's currently unfinishable. Xarnax has ended up in the Goma room again, and now I think he's going to be leaving for good.
Okay, good.
But yeah, now it's coming to a choice of, do you try to pull some items out of 8? You already know 8's location. Or do you search the overworld looking for 6? And I feel like if you're on the western half of the overworld already, and as difficult as it is to get over to the southwest, you maybe have to look for 6 if there's still places that you haven't found just yet. That said, Xarnax is heading... I'm not sure where he's heading. Perhaps he left some unexplored spots over near the vanilla start screen.
Yep, looks like it. Ah, Bogey Smalls, thank you for the raid, and everybody welcome in. You are seeing a wonderful 3-way Zelda 1 randomizer race between Xarnax42, Spudozaurus, and Phoenix Ignition.
We've got Boletta tracking. I'm Dr. Brian Lorgon 111. You're also hearing Beef and Boom here on the commentary. And these runners have already played one of their 3 matches. Xarnax won the first one, with Spudozaurus taking second and Phoenix Ignition taking third. Runners trying to accumulate points. The biggest 2 point getters will advance in the bracket stage.
So, Spudozaurus did find 8, pulls out the Triforce. I'm guessing goes right back in, but this is one of those times where I'm okay if it doesn't happen when I say, okay.
And for the new viewers, Boletta is tracking on the buy screen the dungeons we have found, so we have located among all the 3 runners all the dungeons except for Dungeon 6. Dungeon 2 was blocked by the Power Bracelet, so we've already seen our potential Overworld block.
But if you want things to be spicy, you are going to want to hope that level 6 is under Recorder Lake, because that is the one Overworld blocking item that is still outstanding for our runners.
We've already seen that there's nothing on the raft spots, and I'm not sure if all the Power Bracelet spots have been checked yet or not. We've also seen that the Triforce in 7 appears to be bow blocked. There's a Goma, and the only possible way to get through. Phoenix Ignition, by the way, also purchases the bomb upgrade. But now, yeah, new viewers, I think you're pretty much all caught up.
So Phoenix also deciding to nope out of 7, which is, from our point, the good decision. I don't know if he's seen the bow block or not, but I definitely do agree with his decision. And Xarnax is on his way up into Death Mountain, so is he going to keep exploring, or is he going to go right for that forgotten spot to go back into 8 for the dig?
Well, it seems like he'll be able to pick up some unexplored locations along the way, so maybe we'll encounter 6 and things might get kind of decided for him.
Well, I know Spud was just up here, and I think...
Oh, okay.
Because I don't think Spud went up into Death Mountain. I think Spudozaurus did 6, the Armos, and the shop east of Armos, but then went to the forgotten spot. So I don't know if we've seen anything up in Death Mountain. At least West Death Mountain.
Say that 5 times fast.
No.
And Phoenix Ignition just visited Vanilla 3, did not immediately head to the southwest, like has the bombs to do it. I can't remember if anyone's searched those 2 caves, the open cave and the bomb spot in the very southwest corner of the map.
I believe they have. I don't remember if there was anything noteworthy down there. At least not a dungeon.
And chat pointed out earlier that in addition to the Triforce being blocked in 7, it appeared that the item was also blocked in 7 by the bow. And so I guess the most interesting thing might be 8 has the bow, which blocks the ability to get the item in 7, which turns out to be the recorder, which turns out to be the location of Dungeon 6.
I am all for that scenario. At least as a commentator. As a runner, I would not like you very much. Yes, we are actually, chat, working on the theory that commentator's curse does not come true. Whether or not it comes true, if you think it but do not say it, because I have a thought in my head, and I will not divulge it until I know whether or not it's true.
This is a perfectly valid scientific experiment to study commentator's curse, and the one data point that we get will surely prove things one way or the other.
Irrefutable scientific data, carefully hypothesized, quality control tested. Ah, and we see the ladder.
Up here on West Death Mountain, which I said 1 times fast. And yeah, Xarnax just turns it down. Happy with this combat.
I think, what was it, Xarnax and Spudozaurus both already took a potion. I don't remember if Phoenix did or not. I know 2 of them have already taken a potion from the Take Any, and 1 of them I don't believe has.
Oh, it turns out that we won't be able to find Zelda in the seed. An old man just told me there is no Zelda, there's only Zool.
Oh, we get a look at our first item in 8, which is the red candle.
Spudozaurus elects not to pick it up. So now that leaves only 1 chance for our dream.
Ah, Xarnax just found level 6 up in Death Mountain. I mean, we still have a pretty good routing dream going alive. Just no longer recorder required. We can still always hope for the famous magic staircase. That's always a nice fan favorite.
This level 6 doesn't look too bad in terms of the map. It's got a little bit of a bottleneck kind of in the neck in the middle, which makes me wonder if there's going to be a transport staircase that brings you somewhere in the southern half to the northern half.
It's still got a fat bottom. That's a lot of rooms to go through. So, I don't know how... I always question, and this is something else that I try to work on, is how do you route giant dungeons? Do you just take your first transport and just go, or do you do a methodical sort of back and forth sweep, provided that doors and bomb holes allow? I always am very interested to see the divergence in people and how they play this, and the recorder in 8.
Okay. So... recorder in 8... I guess, does the bow have to be in 6?
Right.
Because it can't be in 7.
Unless there was something we didn't find that would suggest that 7 is not bow blocked. But yeah.
And then I guess we will have Silver's, the Coast Heart, and the Wand, which could either be the remaining item in 7 or the 2 items in 9. Meanwhile, Xarnax picks up a Container Heart here in level 6. And yeah, going back to your earlier discussion, I think sometimes it also depends, like, if you fight a difficult room with shutters and discover a transport, like, sometimes you want to go ahead and take the transport even if you didn't intend to, so that you don't have to fight that room again in order to reopen it later. So there's many variables. That's one of the things I really enjoy about this randomizer, is there are so many little things, so many different ways that individual rooms and the maps can play out that can kind of change your strategy subtly in one direction or another between seeds.
That is very good advice. I usually don't remember about the rules of respawning when I'm playing. Alright, So Spudozaurus did elect to go back to 2. Looks like just for their Triforce, passing up the boomerang again.
Xarnax hoping he's not lost, despite what the old man text in that room says.
Meanwhile, Phoenix is also in level 6, having done the Death Mountain exploration, and looks to be almost on the same path. That boomerang is mocking me. He just needs to find the Triforce and get out, so I don't have to be mocked anymore.
I seem to recall it was somewhere near the lower left.
Okay, thank you, Boletta. I got the boomerang, thank you. I mean, I understand the strategies behind both of it. Some people see it as the useless item. Some people don't pick it up simply because they do the select button item scroll, and then that messes up the item scroll that they're doing. It's one more thing to go through.
Yeah, dig doggers can be very helpful to have a boomerang in order to stun them after killing them, so you don't have to spend a lot of bombs. And obviously, if you get the boomerang very early, sometimes some enemies will roll down to 0 HP, and the boomerang can actually kill them. And so that could be another reason that might steer people who don't typically get the boomerang into choosing to get it. But yeah, I'm usually on team don't pick up the boomerang.
The completionist in me wants to at least get one of the boomerangs. I personally prefer the wooden one over the magical one.
It comes back faster.
Exactly. And I'm not trying to go, across the world to get something like the rupee over there that possibly could be. They can have it. Waiting one day for Fred to put that flag in that says that you can pick up floor drops with the boomerang.
That would be a game changer in terms of the metagaming strategy with that.
So, question in chat. The wooden boomerang comes back faster because it flies a shorter distance.
Yeah, it can only go about halfway across the screen. The magic boomerang can go all the way across, and they both fly at the same speed. So sometimes you'll throw the magic boomerang, miss a target, it'll go flying across the room, and you're waiting for it to come back.
And still no item in 6. Xarnax is now finally up in the top. This might be it. And it looks like Spudozaurus is doing some of the more out-of-the-way checks, we'll say for lack of a better word, raft, etc. Okay, so we've got the logic. Bo is in 6. Perfect.
Xarnax is the first to it. Has kind of all the pieces of the puzzle unraveling before his own eyes. Did take a long time to get through that 6, so it still leaves some time for perhaps other runners to take a luckier path. But we still need the Triforce out of 6 as well, and Xarnax continues to dive and goes back to the Triforce room. So now he'll be out of here, and I guess headed back to 7.
Yep, I do believe he's seen all the... Has he seen 5? Yes, he's seen 5. I think.
And despite the fact that Spudozaurus spent a bit of extra time diving Dungeon 8 for what seems like unnecessary items, A, the recorder will help him get around in the overworld faster, and B, it's always possible that there'll be a necessary dig dogger in Dungeon 9, and that recorder's actually going to become necessary before the end of the game. But yeah, we're also at that point. The seed was pretty kind in the first half. Early-ish red ring, white sword, and ladder. And so now for these runners, even Xarnax, 53 minutes, and still haven't managed to get all the Triforces or find the silver arrows. Starting to think about how quickly the seed is going and how your opponents might be doing.
So Xarnax heading back into 7, and I like this play. Because he does know where 8 is, and even though there's 2 more items, he knows that this is an arrow block. And he's seen a good portion of 7 already, so why not dig what you know first?
Yeah, I think there was only like maybe 4 rooms behind the Skoma that has to contain both the Triforce and the item. And so while it does take a number of rooms to actually walk back that path to get there, this is going to be a pretty quick dig for a certain item in a Triforce.
So we have, let's see, a 1 in 3 chance that we have silvers in 7. Alright, so meanwhile, Spudozaurus is completing some of their checks of Death Mountain. Heading to the left, I don't believe has found the Forgotten Spot. Checked the Forgotten Spot yet, so there will be a little bit of time wasted here on taking care of these other ones. Possibly might pick up the letter. Probably not, because I do believe they picked up the red potion. Alright.
So here's the aforementioned Goma that had been blocking everyone in Dungeon 7. Xarnax fires an arrow into its eye, takes it out. Aquamentus here is not going to be the item, but it is going to be the compass.
That's
That'll
nice.
help speed up the Triforce. We knew it wasn't going to be the item because there was a shutter door, and so the push block couldn't reveal a staircase.
Phoenix, on the other hand, getting their bow out of 6. Heading what looks to be the Triforce, looks like they have the compass. Spudozaurus, still exploring Death Mountain, did find the letter and did pass it up.
I guess the players got the book early in the seed, and so picking up the letter for extra literacy seemed unnecessary.
Well, some people do prefer novels over newspapers. Alright, potential push block here for Xarnax as Phoenix gets their Triforce out of 6. Spudozaurus, now finding level 6, and hopefully we'll be digging out the bow very shortly.
Yeah, so it feels like we've got a tight race here. This is definitely within range of places where level 9 being a troll could still make this anyone's game. Phoenix also was already doing a good job after picking up the bow of using the bow and arrow as a ranged weapon, kind of speed up some of the combat.
Yeah, I think that's going to come down to, especially with between Xarnax and Spudozaurus, is are the silvers in 7? Because Spudozaurus has already cleared the items out of 8, and Xarnax has just dipped his toe in the water, hasn't even really been in there. And there's that heart.
Container heart.
So the wand and the silvers in 9. So this is going to make it very interesting. Will Xarnax take a gamble? Depending on what he does in level 8.
And he did already have the Book of Maps when he discovered Dungeon 9 before, and so he saw it was kind of a Swiss cheesy, lower 50s kind of size 9 to dip. I have heard some other runners say that when you have a very holy 9, they prefer trying to find magical staircases to find Zelda anyway, and so if you're going to be taking all the staircases, maybe you want to go into 9 early and hope that you stumble across the silvers. I don't know if that plays into his strategy at all or not. But yeah, for Xarnax's point of view, it looks like a 50-50, 8 or 9 for the silvers.
Now, he did already get the Triforce out of 8. So does he? Oof. Oof, I'm going to be very interested to see what he does in the next 5 minutes. And then if you're Spudozaurus, you're going to find your bow in 6. You know that you have both items out of 8. Do you bother digging 7? I don't remember if the item in 7 was on the way to the Triforce or not. And Xarnax with their Triforce, speaking of which, out of 7. And will presumably be heading back to level 5.
It felt to me like the compass was maybe on the way, but the Triforce was slightly out of the way. And so I think it's in such an arrangement that runners are likely to encounter the item before they end up picking up the Triforce. But yeah, since Spud has seen 2 items in 8, yeah, it also changes the logic for him if he does happen to get a Triforce earlier out of 7.
Alright.
I guess Phoenix Ignition is just about to discover the location of Dungeon 8 over here at Forgotten Spot, or had they been in it already? No, I don't think so.
No. Okay, Spud picking up the bow, so everybody has the bow and arrow. Now it's just the question of who's going to take a gamble or who's going to keep digging. Xarnax is back in 8, so it looks like he does at least want to do
Interesting.
a little poking around.
And the other items that are available, from his point of view, the wand and... what was the other one?
The wand and, let's see...
Oh, the recorder he doesn't have. Right, yeah, and the recorder could be necessary. So this also factors in again. If there is a necessary Dig Dogger in level 9, this is more motivation to want to check 8 first.
And I don't think we've seen Dig Doggers yet.
I don't think we've seen a single one, possibly. And that's also, you can argue that it's a reason to check 8 first, or you could argue that it's a reason to check 9 first. Like, try to find out if you're going to need that recorder, because it might be the case that you go into 9, find the silvers there, and then run into the Dig Dogger and need to dig 8 anyway, and so maybe you want that information as soon as possible. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's arguments to be made for both. There's, I feel like it's an hour in, I'm so behind, I need to just start taking chances and just pray to whatever deities the Zelda people pray to. Wait, it's... Faror, Jin, and who was the last one?
I do not know.
3 goddesses that created Hyrule. Oh, there goes my brain again.
This is lore that was not present in Zelda 1, and this is the only one that I ever owned as a kid.
Thank you, Neru. Okay. Yes, and Wally. Goddess Wally.
Well, thank you, chat. Being able to pull in important information to finish off.
Alright, so Spudozaurus in 7. Now it looks like 5 is going to be the last stop for everybody, unless... Does Phoenix know where 7 is? Yes, Phoenix was in 7. So it looks like even in the cleanup, they're all kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, very interesting.
Right. So Xarnax took an up and A and is leaving 8. Okay. This is interesting. But he didn't find any items out of it. He might just be heading straight back to 5 now. Maybe giving himself like 5 minutes to poke around in 8, and if he didn't find anything by then, just up A and go.
Seems plausible based on what he's currently doing. Obviously, without the recorder, he has to take the walk all the way back over to 5. He's going to pass by 9 along the way. And so once he exits Dungeon 5, he'll be right next to where Dungeon 9 is. And so I imagine is likely to head straight over there next.
Because he's already dug the item out, so all he just needs is that Triforce, in which, the commentator gods as we are know that this is the correct play to make. The silvers are in 9, but you are correct, Chad also pointed out, if the recorder does end up being required, then he's going to have a little bit of ground to make up, and Spudozaurus would technically be in the lead. I always loathe to try to call somebody who's in the lead unless it's so completely obvious, by Triforces and items, because this 9 is going to do 9 things. I'm calling it right now. 9 is going to be a magic staircase over here, and a magic staircase over there, and a bait block over here. Even though there's only supposed to be 1, the game's somehow going to find a way to put 2 in. Alright, so it's just the hunt and the Triforce for 5 for Xarnax. Spudozaurus making their way around level 7.
Using the bow and arrow to really speed up the combat versus the Pole's voice.
And Phoenix still in 8. Most likely, I don't believe they've seen Compass or Triforce yet, so probably we'll be trying to dig out an item or two. Alright, there's a Gleeok. Haven't seen one of those in a while.
And that'll help Xarnax discover the location of the Triforce. Turns out it was right over here all along. Useful information, but another one of those things that perhaps makes you feel a little bit behind. You're like, oh, why didn't I try bombing up here?
So, Spudozaurus did find the heart in 7, opted out, and now just has to find the path around.
Xarnax has figured out, oh, I know why I didn't try bombing up there. It turns out that you can't bomb into there. You just take a walk all the way around.
Oh, okay, so this was bow blocked as well. Because I remember one of the other runners had the compass, but I don't remember why they didn't pick it up, and now I've got my answer. Alright, so Phoenix is out of 8. I don't believe Phoenix got any items.
Xarnax is out of 5, and with level 9 just 2 screens away, I expect we're going to get our first look past the lobby.
Spudozaurus Triforce out of 7. So we'll be heading back up to level 5 to make the same play. Phoenix is going, I'm assuming, back to 7 as well. I think they all kind of have that same mindset now, that it's over an hour, you have to start making some gambles.
And chat, if you haven't already gotten your popcorn, it's probably too late. It's time to get your eyes on the prize. We're in level 9. We're looking for a roar and a door, and also some silver arrows.
Yep, and there is the possibility that there could be Digdoggers in this dungeon.
And yeah, I don't have a good sense of what the odds are with the extra bosses. They're non-trivial that a Digdogger could be required, but I would still guess like only in like the 5 to 10% range or something like that.
Well, with the flag set, is there a possibility that you could see one of every type, or do the bosses roll in the same enemy sets?
That I honestly have no idea.
Because that would be quite wicked just to see one of everything here. Although now that I've seen it, I can finally say it. I was thinking earlier, we haven't seen any Patras lately. And so at least we know that just by thinking it, 20 Patras are not going to all of a sudden appear in every level, even if we've already seen them.
All right. Scientifically proven. You heard it
Correct.
here first.
Yep. I will be submitting my thesis shortly.
Xarnax does choose to take a few extra seconds to go and pick up the wand. Wand does the same amount of melee damage as the white sword and works against almost all the same enemies, but also gives you ranged combat and has a crazy hitbox that tends to hit in more directions than just the white sword can.
Spudozaurus, meanwhile, with the Triforce out of 5, and will soon be joining Xarnax in level 9 very shortly, with complete knowledge, knowing that the silvers absolutely have to be in here. So Xarnax is still continuing. Never mind. There's the silvers.
Well, that is quite fortunate.
2 rooms away. Very nice.
And you were talking about someone having a decided advantage to call them in the lead. At this point, Xarnax has the decided advantage and is in the lead.
The only thing that could save Spudozaurus, besides routing or a magic staircase, is a Digdogger shutter door somehow blocking the only path.
Xarnax finds 2 different bomb walls, and here's some open doors, so he has a lot of possible rooms that can be explored without having to worry about getting boxed in just yet.
And likes, be so careful.
Spudozaurus is also choosing to pick up the wand. Xarnax did pick it up, I haven't seen him use it yet. Got those bombs at the ready. And
Venus Ignition running out of time, unfortunately. He needs to start making some plays, which I believe he's doing the same thing as Spudozaurus, so he probably will go right to 5, gambling on the silvers in 9. And, okay, so there is Spud with their silvers, so now it's just, are they going to take the same path?
Xarnax probably only has, like a 4 or 5 room of exploration lead versus Spudozaurus, so if Spud chooses to go up here, for example, now I think we're on a different path, although is he going to clip across the T or turn around? Looks like he is going to do the latter clip.
Okay. And we have Ganon in one of those tiny little rooms. Well, we have
Zelda,
Ganon.
as the case may be, since Xarnax is one of the enemy sprites.
I mean, it could be Ganon in a dress. We don't know this. Alright, so 8 hits is all we need.
Xarnax gets a stun lock at the second half of the fight, picks up the Triforce of Power, and now is just looking for a shutter door that opens even before killing all the enemies. That will be the location of Princess Ganon, perhaps?
Yes. I mean, it could be Zelda in a Ganon suit. We don't know these things.
Despite the fact that we know the names of the gods of Hyrule, we still do not know the true identities of the characters who appear on the screen. Such is the mystery of the Legend of Zelda Randomizer. And so I'll be interested to see, now that Spud has kind of gone a different direction, if Spud ends up finding the door that does not open, but ends up having it up A. And there we go!
Everybody's get your GGs in chat. Xarnax has finished. Lorgan, what's the time?
It's a time of 1:10:49 as an official race time. Finishes in first place once again. And so, assuming Xarnax finishes the third of these runners' races, will be guaranteed to move on into the next stage of the bracket. So congratulations to Xarnax.
Meanwhile, Spudozaurus is continuing their trek through 9, and Phoenix Ignition is heading up to, let's see, looks like level 5. Yep, they just got their Triforce out of 7, so hopefully within the next few minutes we'll be joining Spudozaurus. So now it's a race between 2nd and 3rd. Oh no, Phoenix got bopped by the Wallmaster. I mean, thankfully not too many rooms in, but still.
Spudozaurus does find this left bomb wall that we know that Xarnax took earlier, and so this is probably going to send him on the correct path. With 218 silver arrows in his quiver, these likes are going to go down very quickly.
I don't think this was the staircase. I think the staircase was over to the left. I think this particular one here. But I will defer to our fantastic tracker, Boletta, who also tracks the 9s. It's incredible. Thank you so much for all of your tracking skills today. No, I think Spud took a different staircase, because... yeah, I think that's him in the upper left-hand corner. I can't really see the... And we are joined by Xarnax. GG, sir.
Hey, thank you.
I am so pleased that you picked up the big shield. I know I harp on it, but that's also because I'm a big shield enthusiast. And you kept it the entire time.
Well, yeah.
And this one gave you a lot of nice things at the beginning of the race. What's your overall thoughts?
Yeah, it really did. It was really interesting because about 20 minutes in, I was like, this could easily be sub-hour. And then about an hour in, I'm starting to sweat a bit. I definitely felt like I got a lot of luck with the right order of things really early. But I knew that they weren't like the book, the red ring, ladder, white sword. They were all relatively easy to get. So I felt like I got them a little earlier, I felt like I probably got them first, but probably not by more than 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, it turns out that you were actually the last to get the red ring, but you did well with the other items.
Okay, yeah, red ring, I suppose. Yeah, that did feel pretty late, but was also not terribly big of a factor.
Right, yeah, I don't know that you took any deaths before getting it, so...
This was probably one of the easiest combat scenes I've seen in a long time.
And no Patras. Or was there only
No
like
Patras? I don't think I ever saw a Dig Dogger.
Yep, which we were wondering about, because you went in there without digging 8. I think that's what gave you the advantage, is you took that gamble that the silvers were in 9.
Oh, Spud's got a recorder.
Yep,
yeah, Spud did
full
choose
knowledge.
to dig 8, and so if there had been a Dig Dogger that was required in 9, it could have definitely changed the outcome, and that made it very interesting for us watching.
Yeah, I bet. I started digging. I was 2 screens away from 8 on my way to 9. I'm like, man, if the silvers or a necessary recorder are in here, I'm going to regret not digging it. But there were so many rooms. It was such a big 8, and 7 was big too. So I had a feeling 9 might be a little bit smaller. And then just 8 was stonewalling me every way it could. So yeah, I'm trying to remember what the reason I up and 8 out of there the last time I went into it. I think I just needed to backtrack too much to find a bomb wall, and I was like, there's so much backtracking happening right now. It's going to be fast. I know I've got stuff to do in 9 if I find the items along the way. Like, I was basically talking myself. As I was going into 8, I was telling myself, this is probably not the optimal play, because there's definitely stuff to do in 9. And then I was kind of like gambler's fallacy. I'm already here. I might as well keep pushing. And then as soon as I had to up an A out in 8, I was like, I'm going to leave and come back if I have to. And that ended up paying off.
Indeed. And yeah, with another win here, I think you just need to finish the next race and you'll be guaranteed to move on in the brackets. Obviously a deep field, but is there anything in particular you're looking ahead towards?
I mean, the 2 waiting for us, I've run against, I think, all of their tournament seeds that I didn't watch. I've downloaded them and played through them and then checked the race times, and I don't think I was within 20 minutes on any of them.
Oh my goodness.
So, but
You'll have your work cut out for you.
I do.
Speaking of work cut out for you, Spudozaurus has to drink a potion here during the Ganon fight.
And it looks like Phoenix is actually within the same area, so...
Oh.
But Spudozaurus does have the compass, so Spudozaurus does know where the kidnapped is.
Gets another bop from Ganon. This is turning into a long fight. Does have another potion in reserve if necessary. But manages to take down Ganon, put an arrow in, and now just has to make that walk to go find the kidnapped.
Yep. And it looks like Phoenix is heading in the right direction. Hopefully it does not get pulled away by these open doors.
He knows where the girl is.
Yep. But unfortunately time has run out because I believe Spudozaurus has a pretty direct path back to Zelda.
So yeah, Phoenix definitely made it a close race here in the end. But it looks like Spudozaurus will be edging them out.
Yep, there it is. Okay.
So yeah, get your GGs in the chat for Spudozaurus, who finishes in second place with an official race time of 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 25 seconds. Coming in some 7.5 minutes after Xarnax.
These are the races I love to see. It wasn't one clear advantage that one person had over the others. Everybody kind of had the same routing, got access to the same items, so it was just really down to combat and a little bit of gambling. And the big shield. I'm sure the big shield is what swung it right in your
that's
favor.
right. And so early. I mean, you had good money at the beginning and had
And
some
you bought it
information,
before the
but
arrows. That was my favorite. Like, I know you had money for both, but the big shield before the wood arrows. I love it.
It's the most underrated item in the game. It's not the most important, not the most valuable, but it's the most underrated. It has gotten me out of a pinch more than once.
Yep, I agree. I buy it too. I'm right in your corner there.
well, Spudozaurus was running into time issues and so won't be able to join us for an interview after the race. So we'll continue watching Phoenix finish up this Dungeon 9.
He's back in the right area. He just needs to go a couple more rooms right, and then hopefully can bomb down from here.
It'll be hard to bomb down with the 0 bombs that are currently in his inventory, however. The blue moblin drops a clock, it looks like, so he's perhaps at 3 on the global.
That bomb upgrade in 7 may have been the best placed I've ever seen.
And
you
so
had the money for it.
Yes.
Spudozaurus did not.
How? That was the richest sea. Like, every secrets rolled up. Everything was dirt cheap.
I honestly don't know, what the routing was that caused it to go that way for Spudozaurus, but they weren't even able to pay the mugger the first time through. I think had to go through 3 times and farm a couple of Tektites possibly before he was able to
that's brutal.
Have the option there, and did not want to give up the bomb as opposed to the rupees. But your routing, that's another place that was pretty subtle, where your routing in terms of money ended up paying dividends at the end of the seed in kind of an unexpected way.
But I was bombing walls left and right in 7, and then found one path that I could go through, realized I was low on bombs, tried to force and missed. And then the end of that path was the bomb upgrade. I was like, oh my gosh, I can keep going.
And I think our tracker Boletta perhaps has the answer there. I think they're right that Spudozaurus bought some keys before finding the any key in Dungeon 1 on the floor.
Okay.
And so that's an easy way to, sink 100 and something rupees.
Right.
Even the keys were pretty cheap in the seed, though. I think there was a shop at 60.
Oh no! Phoenix doesn't have a potion.
Takes a death to Ganon. Took the heart containers and had never picked up the potion. And I don't remember if Phoenix had even found the letter to have the option to buy potions or not.
I think he found the letter, but I don't know if he picked it up.
The letter was right up by 6.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 hiding away in the upper left-hand corner of Hyrule, way up on Death Mountain, also made things
interesting. That had me nervous.
We were wondering if it was going to be that or somehow be underneath Recorder Lake and you're going to have to dive 8 and get the recorder in order to find it. That was kind of the dream for chat.
If 6, that Recorder Lake was the only spot I didn't check. 6 was my second to last Overworld spot.
I see.
So I would have gone right back into 7 and then 8. Had that not been a level.
Alright, so it looks like a pretty straightforward path from the kidnap to Ganon, so Phoenix just needs to get this stun lock. Just 8 hits. That's all I'm asking for, Seed. Just give him 8 hits. Oh, he did have a potion. Oh, okay.
Oops.
Yep.
Sometimes those Hyrule drivers can catch you by surprise.
Yep.
I know I choose to play without the beeping when you get low on hearts.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword.
Definitely have to pay attention.
Okay. There we go.
There we go. A beautiful stun
There
lock.
we go. Lovely.
Second time's the charm.
Yep. And then just a quick zap right to the left. listening to the old man dribble on again.
That's like with Bogey. It's like with Zelda 2 Randomizer. If you've got one max heart and you don't turn off beeping, there's no way to turn it off the entire seed.
I like the anxiety. It reminds me I have to play just a little more carefully.
Like,
All right.
We'll get your GGs in the chat for Phoenix Ignition, finishing with an Admiral third place time of 1 hour, 24-25 seconds. Yeah, we had an interesting race among all three. And yeah, even going into the late stages where we, from the observing commentators booth, had all the information as to where things were, it was still potentially at that point anybody's race. It was a fun one to watch.
I still say Big Shield, but that's just me.
I'll never argue on that.
Nope.
But man, what you were saying, what Phoenix is saying, yeah, got my work cut out for me. Next group, those two are either of them could easily win this entire thing.
Yeah, it's a very deep field and kind of has been throughout, even in the Swiss rounds. But yeah, it looks like Phoenix will be joining us here in the booth momentarily.
Nice.
So I don't remember who is in your bracket, but who are you looking forward most to going up against?
Nobody.
Nobody? You got the shield. You don't care who you're going up, but you got the shield.
Spud or Phoenix, whoever comes along with me.
There you go. But we are joined by Phoenix Ignition now. GG was a close race and fun to watch. How'd you feel about that one?
I feel like I wasted too much time in 7 and 8, as usual.
Yeah, 8 especially was tough. Xarnax managed to nope out after a short period of time without getting the items, which turned out in this particular seed to work out in his favor.
The items in 8 are what? The red candle and the
recorder.
Or something. The recorder, right?
Right. How deep were they in 8?
No idea. I found all the other items, though.
Same.
I think the red candle was found by Spudozaurus relatively early on, but the recorder, I think, was pretty deep. That's my recollection.
Okay.
If the recorder had been a required item in 9, like, it would have completely changed the seed, and so it definitely made things interesting with that still outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the red candle, if I'd gotten that with a lot of rooms left in 8, I probably would have been another incentive for me to leave as well. I think if I had found that, things wouldn't have gone too much differently. 7, I think there were 5 rooms in 7's map that I didn't go into. Definitely double or triple dipped that and spent a lot of time.
Everybody, had a lot of trouble with that 7 because you'd get so deep in and then you ran into the Goma block that you couldn't get past. And so everybody got there before they had the bow and everybody had to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a nasty 7. Super linear, too.
It was the same thing with 5, too, because the Triforce in 5 was bow blocked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think in terms of routing and playstyles, you guys, all 3 of you pretty much went in the same direction, found the same items. It was just all about gambles in this particular seed. That's what won it, I think, for Xarnax. But it was, at least the first hour was too close to call. There was no clear forerunner in this particular seed. It was really good to watch.
Yeah, 5 was not nearly as bad as 7, mostly because the power bracelet wasn't hard to, like, there were wizrobes in that dungeon, but none in the way between the start and the power bracelet. And having the item, and especially because it was 2 screens away from 9, it was really easy to just save that Triforce until the very end of the run.
And yeah, I think we were talking about it before you got here, Phoenix Ignition, but I think we were saying with Xarnax, we're not sure that anybody saw a Digdogger or a Patra. Do you recall any?
I definitely saw Patras. I ran into a couple Patras, I think, in 7 or 8.
I see.
Never saw a Digdogger, though.
Okay.
I don't think I.
Oh, no, the Patras I saw in 9, because I had the wand, and the wand was in 9.
Yeah, but we did figure out that, at least for commentators, if you think something, it does not happen. Commentator's curse can only be effective when you speak. We have now proven it with science.
Well, thanks to you guys for putting on a good show for us. We enjoyed it. There are a few more races later on tonight, as Boletta has kind of documented here in the chat, some hours later today. So look forward to that if you enjoy watching more Zelda 1 Randomizer. Yeah, but I don't know. Any other parting words on the way out of this one?
I got nothing.
I don't think so. Just thanks for commentating, tracking. SG for putting on our restream. First one didn't get. We're kind of at an awkward time for a lot of people, so appreciate people who got the time and are taking it to.
Yeah, and the same thing for the runners. Like,
race.
yeah, you were the guys who are putting on the races, and yeah, obviously getting 3 or 4 people together to run at a time that works for everybody, especially when people were in sometimes vastly different time zones. So glad that we were able to air this one, and glad that you guys were able to play. All right, but with that, I am Lorgon111 with Bufin Boom. Once again, thanks to Boletta for tracking. And I guess we will see you all in future races.
It's goodbye, everybody.